Today, an American was killed by a bomb in northern Iraq. He was among the U.S. forces advising Iraqi and Kurdish troops on their fight to liberate the city of Mosul from ISIS. We want to ask two of our most experienced war correspondents about the presidential candidates' ideas. Elizabeth Palmer is just back from Syria, and Holly Williams is in northern Iraq tonight. Let's begin with what Trump said about the White House announcing its Mosul plan in advance.
Whatever happened to the element of surprise? Okay? We announced we're going after Mosul. I've been reading about going after Mosul now for about, how long is it, Hillary? 3 months? These people have all left. They've all left.
So, Holly, is Trump right?
Well, Scott, I think that secrecy would have been very, very difficult. This is a multinational effort, not just the U.S., and most of the thousands of fighters on the front lines here are from Iraq, from different factions, ethnic and religious groups. Remember also that making it public that the offensive was about to begin gave the residents of Mosul, who are being used as human shields, a chance to try to escape or perhaps to prepare to rise up against ISIS.
Holly, Trump also said advance warning gave the leaders of ISIS a chance to escape Mosul. What of that?
Well, Scott, we were on the front line today, and ISIS was definitely firing back. They are laying roadside bombs. They're sending out suicide bombers. Now, it's true that the U.S. military told us that some ISIS leaders may have fled the city. But on the other hand, the extremists are still putting out their slickly produced propaganda videos from Mosul.
Now let's go over to Syria, where the dictatorship and its Russian ally are bombing rebels and civilians. Clinton wants a U.S.-enforced no-fly zone, and she was asked whether she would shoot down a Russian plane.
I think a no-fly zone could save lives and could hasten the end of the conflict. I am well aware of the really legitimate concerns that you have expressed from both the president and the general. This would not be done just on the first day. This would take a lot of negotiation. It would also take making it clear to the Russians and the Syrians that our purpose here was to provide safe zones on the ground.
So, Liz, what would the U.S. have to do to enforce a no-fly zone?
Well, the first thing it would probably do is look for strategic partners. It wouldn't want to go it alone in a very controversial operation, and it may also look for backing from the UN. That could take months, and by then the Syrian war could look very different. And those civilians who need protection from the bombing by then may be ringed by Syrian troops and unable to move into the protection of a no-fly zone. Secondly, the risk of escalation is huge. Not only would the U.S. have to face the possibility of shooting down a Russian warplane, but it would have to destroy Russia's new ground-to-air missile system, which is now installing in Syria. So basically, bluntly, this would pit two nuclear-armed nations against one another on a battlefield.
The insights of Elizabeth Palmer and Holly Williams, thank you very much.
A man has been arrested for shooting a 7-year-old boy inside a Southside apartment yesterday. 23-year-old Francisco Fernandez has been charged with aggravated assault. Tucson police say he was handling a gun with the boy nearby when he fired one shot. One of the family members who was there tells us the gun went off by mistake, but police say this was no accident. As the boy's shoes
were left on the walkway in a rush to get him to the hospital and police tape sectioned off part of the apartment complex, officers arrested this man, 23-year-old Francisco Fernandez. He was originally taken in for an outstanding felony probation warrant, but then police determined Fernandez was the one who fired the gun. Police say Fernandez was in this upstairs apartment with his girlfriend as she babysat her 7-year-old nephew. Police say Fernandez then picked up the gun and fired one shot. They will not say if this was intentional, but Sergeant Pete Dugan says it was not an accident because he says Fernandez was, quote, reckless for handling a gun around a child and, quote, should have known better. But a family member who was inside the apartment at the time says Fernandez just jumped on the bed and the gun went off. As the investigation continues, the good news is the boy is out of surgery in stable condition. His family says he is talking and has been moved from the ICU. Christina Myers, KGUN 9, on your side.
Breaking news right now, and a lot of flashing lights out there on the freeway. First, this is a look from the ADOT camera where I-10 is shut down westbound at the mini stack. And the next video we have to show you, taking you in really close. Look at this. 3 motorcycles involved in a crash here, and all 3 people on them seriously hurt. Fire crews only telling us their ages right now, 44, 39, and 26. Again, I-10 closed westbound near 24th Street. Traffic being rerouted to the 51 and Loop 202. 15, because we do have some breaking news we want to share tonight. This is 28th Street and Bell Road. A crash. We heard it might be a motorcycle stuck underneath a van. That's what it looks like when you take a look there as they shine the light on that. We're working to get some more information. As soon as we have any updates, we'll get those out to you. We have more breaking news. We're actually going to move Air 15 in just a moment. We're going to try and get that to you soon as well.
For one Valley family enduring a painful few years.
Tomorrow will be 3 years, 10 months, and 10 days since Savannah's death.
A judge is set to sentence the 2 people who pleaded guilty to a little girl's murder. ABC 15's John Erickson is live tonight. And John, I understand this family is ready to speak out in court.
And Stephanie, when the sentencing happens tomorrow morning at the court complex behind me, the family expects it to get very emotional. For the grandmother, not only did she lose a grandchild, she lost her only grandchild. Everyday life has been different for Stephen Cross since the murder of his 2-year-old daughter, Savannah.
I've been in Walmart where somebody was slapping their kid because they were asking for a candy bar. And I stood up to that person, and I'll do it again. Over and over again.
Standing up because Savannah didn't have anyone to stand up for her. Court records say she was at an unlicensed Phoenix daycare in 2012 when she died. Allison Clement and Ryan Reed have pleaded guilty to her murder.
For the Cross family, tomorrow means closure.
Tomorrow, Clement and Reed will be sentenced.
Tears will be flowing, and I'm not exempt from that.
Records show Reed admitted to kicking Savannah in the stomach. Records say he and Clement ran the daycare.
To tell you the truth, as long as they're off the street and this can't happen to nobody else from their hands, I'll be happy with that.
Cross says he shared custody of Savannah with her mother at the time. He lived in Colorado while she had Savannah here. The family says Mom would drop Savannah off at the daycare and leave her for days. Grandma wishes that Mom would have left Savannah with her.
He is my only son. She was my only grandchild. And now he is my only son.
We tried to reach Savannah's mother for comment tonight. We were not able to.
Again this morning with a developing story from Durham.
Police there are looking for any possible leads that'll help them find whoever shot a man last night. Officials say it happened along Angier Avenue. The investigation had the road closed for hours last night.
CBS North Carolina's Lauren Haviland joins us now live from the Durham County Sheriff's Office with the new details we've learned overnight.
Investigators say right now they're actually searching for a car that could be linked to that homicide that happened on Angier Avenue yesterday evening. We want to show you what the scene over there looked like. Deputies say 33-year-old Eric Ray was walking home from work when he was shot. The fatal shooting happened around 8 o'clock in the 3700 block of Angier Avenue. Investigators were on scene for several hours. At this time, they do not have a motive, but are following up on leads. There were surveillance cameras nearby. Investigators now need your help in identifying a person of interest in a burgundy sedan. It's a 2011, either a Nissan Altima or Sentra. Deputies believe the car could be linked to the homicide. It was seen in that block before and after the crime. So if you have any information, may have seen that man or that car, you're asked to call the sheriff's office. You can also call their Crime Stoppers number and remain anonymous. We're live in Durham. Lauren Haviland, CBS North Carolina.
Fall River police are asking for the public's help catching a shooting suspect who's described as armed and dangerous. Police say 20-year-old Kelvin Manuel Cruz shot a 23-year-old man on Rodman Street around midnight on October 12th. And now we're learning more about what police say happened. Eyewitness News reporter Steph Machado has more now live from the mobile newsroom.
Police say Cruz is armed and dangerous. They are on the hunt for him, and they accuse him of shooting a man last week. Fall River police are searching for this man, Kelvin Manuel Cruz of Fall River. They say he's suspected of shooting a 23-year-old man last week here on Rodman Street. Police describe Cruz as armed and dangerous and on the loose.
It's frightening, scared for my life.
Stephanie Tavares lives in this South Side neighborhood where the shooting happened. She's a lifelong Fall River resident and says the neighborhood has turned more violent.
And like where I'm staying now, sometimes I hear gunshots.
She was walking home with her groceries when we met her. Now she's thinking twice about being out alone, at least until Cruz is caught.
Unfortunately, it's not safe anywhere today.
Police say the 23-year-old victim was shot in the thigh on October 12th. They have not identified him, but say his injuries were life-threatening and he was taken to Rhode Island Hospital. The investigation eventually led police to name Cruz as the gunman. And again, police are asking for the public's help to find Cruz, so if you know where he is or you see him somewhere, call police right away. Reporting live with the Mobile Newsroom, I'm Steph Machado, Eyewitness News.